Incoming transmission.
Hello there folks, and welcome to another review. This time I'm reviewing one of the best detective games out there. From the year 2011, it is Rockstar's L.A Noire. The basic premise of the game is sleuthing. Yes, this really is a detective simulator from the late 40s, California. Standard episodes includes hunting for clues and questioning suspects, often having to chase those suspects or beat them in a punch-up first. I really like the way all the clues and locations are noted in your detective's notebook. It gives the game a nice, authentic, vintage feel, not to mention the 100 or so classic 40s automobiles you can drive during the game. Once you have the suspects, you must question them using your clues and your wits to find the truth. If you can prove enough evidence tying them to the crime, then it's time to send them to the clanger and get a ringing endorsement from your superiors.
Masterfully done, Officer Phelps. It is just Officer Phelps, isn't it, lad?
Yes, sir.
Then let me have a word with the Chief of Police, young Phelps. The department needs heroes. A shining, honest face the public can admire. I applaud a man with your talent for unwavering justice. Back to your duties for now, Boyle. But here's a piece of advice. Get yourself 2 suits, get them pressed. You'll be needy.
Often you can choose among several suspects who to convict, and the clues you find and way you approach interviews can often mean several different outcomes to each case. This gives the game important depth and replayability. The game uses a special facial capture technology where actors were filmed by 32 different position cameras to get all their emotions as they try to hoodwink you. This is a very unique and well-planned feature, and the facial expressions in the game are both amusing and can help you in solving cases. Unless, of course, your suspect is a psychopath and has a great poker face. The game is not easy by any stretch, although finishing it is not very hard. Doing so with full or near full star ratings on every mission can be very tricky. Although you can use the game's intuition points system to help you attain a perfect score, I preferred first time around to try and rely on my own intuition, and often found myself not getting all the details I could have out of every suspect. As crazy as it sounds, this game actually taught me a little about techniques you can use when you don't think your friends or family are telling the whole truth. It actually left me wanting to don my own hat and trench coat. The game is very engrossing. It is not thrill a minute, but the story is great and uses some brilliant acting depicting the period it is set in very accurately as far as I can tell, albeit with a few stereotypes played up for an entertainment boost.
LAPD. We'd like to take a look around.
The hell you will, motherfucker. You carrying a warrant?
It is definitely a game that can hook you into the story, particularly the Black Dahlia murder case that sees you tracking a mysterious and brutal serial killer. The game has a slow and methodological pace. Do not expect a typical high-octane Rockstar Grand Theft Auto style game. However, the thinking sections are broken up with the common shooting or car chase sequences that form part of the many investigations. To comment on those specific mechanics, the shooting sections are easy to learn and use a cover system similar to Mafia 2's shooting sections. However, these parts are not particularly detailed, and the game lacks the ability to cycle through different weapons. You can only pick one up at a time, and you cannot act like a criminal and shoot people outside the sequences where you are chasing suspects. The car chase sections are really good fun. The detailed Rockstar damage model from the GTA games has been pretty well utilised in this game, so you can really feel and see those nasty shunts. Another aspect of the game that deserves a mention is the sprawling 1940s LA game map. This is one of the biggest and possibly most accurately modelled sandbox game maps I've ever seen. It has many real locations which were landmarks from the time. Most of the architecture has obviously changed since the 40s, but there are some that have more or less stayed the same, such as the Chinese Theatre and the Crossroads of the World. As well mapped as the city is, there are noticeably less interactive features or side quests as in a GTA game. There are street crimes and hidden vehicles aside from the main story, but that is about it. As I mentioned, the story is one of the real strong points of the game. The cultural references are very well researched and the characters are brought to life with the detailed facial expressions of the actors. You can almost smell that stale cigar smoke from the chief's desk at the police station. I also liked how the game is far from politically correct and demonstrated the corruptness of many police departments at that time. One of your partners in particular is so corrupt you have to question whether he's a lawman or simply an outlaw with a badge.
Fair and square. Fair and square.
To prevent him from getting clipped. He was paid to flop. There was big money riding on this
So are we
fight.
here because you lost money or because we're investigating a prize-fighting racket?
Very funny.
The complex and adult nature of the story was great, and it could have been done terribly, but you can tell Rockstar worked very hard and hired some pretty handy writers too. If you're squeamish, you might want to get someone else to do some of the corpse investigations. The game often sees you having to take a close look at the brutally murdered people, with all the blood and guts clearly apparent. Overall, the downers pale in comparison to the uppers when it comes to L.A Noire. This is a superb game, as good now as when it came out. If you like playing
It's
detective,
a serious offense to
there are
withhold
few better
information from
games
the
out
police
there
during a
to
criminal
this day.
investigation, madam.
I told you to call me June. You're making me feel like an old lady. And don't bother your handsome head about this. My husband will settle the score with Mark Bishop.